Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So we're going to start off with some rather somber news. So over the weekend, as I'm sure a lot of you probably heard, is Octavia's daughter has not been doing very well. And she was put on hospice last week. Well, on Sunday, she passed away. Along with that, Sandra, who is a newer driver, if all of you are familiar with her, has been trying to take care of her father, who has been on hospice. And he passed away over this weekend as well. So, both of them are out at the moment dealing with those situations. So if you could just keep their family in your guys' thoughts, they greatly appreciate it. Yesterday, a couple of drivers came to us about wanting to start a collection for them. So we will hold the money. So if you guys want to donate, it's completely up to you. You can drop it off with somebody in the office and we will get it to them. Kelly bought 2 cards for each person that she's going to put out on the table out here for you guys to sign. So just so you guys are aware of that. On lighter news, you guys have gone 180 days without a chargeable accident, so kudos to you guys.
Stand up and take a bow.
We had in the last 1 month, 1 minor accident that it was a driver was backing out and didn't realize their garage door had stopped early and hit the bottom of the garage door. Ended up being very minor damage, didn't have to get anything involved, but just make sure you guys pay attention to that your garage doors go all the way up before you start backing out. Even if you've got a small bus, because this situation, it was a small bus that hit the door, not a big bus. In the news, school buses have been very popular in the news lately, if you guys have been seeing around. Florida's the big one everybody keeps seeing. If you guys haven't seen this one popping up on Facebook all over the place. A school bus in Florida was clipped by a train. By clipped, I mean the bus proceeded across the tracks and did not clear them all the way. There is actually video online from the students' perspective inside because the kids were freaking out recording it. And the bus pulled forward just in time for the rear end to just be barely hit by the train. Driver has been charged, but she is trying to dispute it, saying that she didn't have a choice. She said a car in front of her stopped and she couldn't continue farther forward, but ultimately you guys are responsible for making sure you have enough room to get across the tracks completely. So just be cognizant of that if you're following traffic across railroad tracks. 2 different instances with school buses versus a garbage truck in the past month. In Tennessee, a bus veered off into oncoming traffic and collided head-on with a garbage truck, killing 2 students. That driver has also been charged, and they are trying to decide if it was a medical emergency or a bus malfunction or what the actual cause was. They're still investigating. In Wisconsin, a garbage truck blew a red light and hit a school bus, sending 5 children to the hospital. And then in Pennsylvania, a bus was stopped at a railroad crossing and a semi-trailer lost control of its brakes and rear-ended the bus. Thankfully, only sending 4 to the hospital. So just be as cognizant as you can out there. That's why we say you guys have to be the safest ones out there, but you can't control everything else that's going on the road. Important dates for April and May. Starting tomorrow is GHS testing. So if you have a high school route, your times have already been sent out by Brandy. You should know what your times are. But it's for only the high school, Wednesday and Thursday. Friday is early dismissal. They're still doing testing at the high school, but they're just running with the early dismissal schedule. So there's no change there, but everybody's got early dismissal. Sorry. Geneva has early dismissal, which means everybody's driving a Geneva route in the middle of the day. I don't want to confuse anybody. Brandy, did you get the sweeper buses covered, or?
No, I need a West bus at 2 o'clock
On Wednesday,
on
right?
Wednesday, and then I still need East Side buses.
So we're still looking for some drivers to help us out with sweeper buses. So if you're able to help us out, all it is picking up any kids that have extended testing and need a ride home, but it's just generic stops and we split them east and west. It is very simple and rarely do you get any children on the bus. We already talked about this Friday's early dismissal. Not this Friday, next Friday, April 24th, is Geneva-wide garage sales. It means there's going to be cars parked all over town in random places because they're walking around to the garage sales, so just be cognizant of that.
Does that include the Mill Creek one?
No.
Oh, good.
I mean, there might be Mill Creek families involved in this one.
Yeah.
But the Mill Creek garage sale, I already looked at that too. That is after school is out.
Oh.
We missed that one. They are doing that on June 3rd.
We usually do it like Mother's Day weekend. I feel
June
like.
3rd this year, and we get out June 1st, so it is after, so we shouldn't have to deal with that. Friday, May 15th is early dismissal for Geneva again. That is our last early dismissal. And as we said, I think it was last safety meeting or the one before, is the last one where you guys should have to cover anybody's extra route. We got that changed for next year. May 25th is no school. It is Memorial Day, so nobody drives that day. That's when your guys' paid holiday, so it doesn't matter if your school's open, you're not driving. That is a district closed holiday. And Wednesday, May 27th to the 29th is the last full week of school, and that is GHS finals that week. So if you have a GHS route, you're gonna have an altered schedule. Any questions on those?
So that would be the last one, so next year we'll just be doing.
Next year, because the high school adjusted their schedule for early dismissal, everybody will be doing their own routes. If you're a 3-tier, you will be doing all 3-tier routes. The high school is getting out 14 minutes earlier than what they are now. Right now, we have it's a 5 or 10 minute window between them. Next year, it'll be a 20 to 25 minute window between them. Dates for the startup have already, for next year, we handed them out to you guys. If you need a copy, just let us know. If you expressed interest in doing an ESY, extended school year, summer school, or field trips over the summer, at some point, you should be getting an email notification that you were added to a group, or if you were already in the group from last summer, it'll say that it was updated. That's how we do the bulk of communication for summer stuff. Kind of talked about this a little bit with the bus accidents, but you guys are supposed to be the safest ones on the road. And that includes, as cars have to, yielding to pedestrians that are in the crosswalk. I have been getting complaints that our buses at Viking and Fabian, yes, Viking and Fabian, there are kids that cross Fabian to walk home to that other subdivision right behind Walmart. Buses that are leaving from the middle school in the afternoon are not yielding to the crosswalk when they have the right of way and are blowing through the yellow arrow. And I get it, you guys can go through a yellow arrow, but you cannot go through a yellow arrow when there are people getting ready to cross and they have the light to do so. You guys have to yield to them. I know that light sucks and it takes forever to get another green light, but we have to yield to the pedestrians.
They can't get like somebody out there to stop the traffic. and do the lights.
It's too busy of a road, they're not gonna put anybody out there, unfortunately. If you have to, if it's faster, go the other way and circle around one way or the other. Cause the crossing guard over there is pretty good about when there's a long line of buses, she just lets the buses roll. School zones. The law says that in a school zone, it is 20 miles an hour when children are present. However, we have always operated under that you are a school bus, you should always do 20 miles an hour in a school zone, period. So I'm just wanted to remind you guys that that is our policy here, because I have been behind a couple of buses myself in my personal car, and you guys are going 30, some of them going 35 when it's only a 30. So make sure you're doing 20 in a school zone. They do, because it's Caneville, but we're supposed to be doing 20. And even then, that road is only a 30 or a 35, I can't remember. But 35. The confusing part is, you guys will do 35 and you'll get a thumbs up from that sign out there,
Yes, you do.
but you guys are supposed to be doing 20 in the school zone. So I get it, you guys got the thumbs up, so it's confusing, but you still gotta do 20. At least in that portion of it. And then last but not least, calling in sick. You have to talk to somebody in the office in the morning. I know people have been calling Kelly or texting Kelly over the weekend or overnight saying, hey, I'm not gonna make it in. And generally the response you get is, thank you for the heads up, and we do appreciate that. But if for some reason Kelly ends up getting sick overnight, or Brandy, if you notified her, we don't know if one of us is gonna call in sick. And then if she calls me at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and says she's coming in sick, will she remember to tell me that you were off? So that's why we ask that you guys call in the morning at 6 a.m. And just so you guys know, this is not our doing, this is what IT has it set to. If you call our phone line before 6 a.m., it goes automatically to voicemail. It does not work. That's why we say you have to call at 6 or after. You cannot call before, it just goes straight to voicemail. I know Kelly gets here early, but it won't ring our phones at all until 6 a.m. And last but not least, it's springtime, field trips are starting to pick up. As you see, there's already 4 pages of field trips for next week, and it's just gonna get worse. So please sign up for field trips. This is the time of year where we ask everybody to sign up and help cover them. Any questions on anything?
So, the 6 o'clock call.
1 second, Teresa. Go ahead,
6
Stacy.
o'clock call. I know you said it goes straight to voicemail.
If you call before 6, yes.
Okay. Like, could you change that? Could you get it? Because you know, the last time I had called, it was a last minute thing. And I'm like, just my opinion. I just feel like 6 o'clock is a little late because I know my clock is at 6:45. I figured give you guys time to like, okay, she's not coming in. Instead of Kelly trying to figure everything out at the last minute.
Here's the problem with that, though, is that I know Kelly shows up early and everybody likes that, but Kelly's start time is 6 a.m. If Kelly's not here, I only show up enough time to get everything going, and I don't start until 6 o'clock doing anything. So that's why we have it set at 6 o'clock, is because officially that's our hours, is 6 a.m. So if one of us is covering for Kelly, we may not be here at 5 in the morning like Kelly is. That's just a Kelly thing. Teresa?
That's pretty much the same.
Okay.
Because I thought, we have to at least give an hour notice.
Yeah.
So that doesn't give an hour notice, so that was my same exact
Yeah.
question.
The wording is by 6 a.m. or an hour before your route. So again, it opens up at 6 a.m., that's the earliest, otherwise at least an hour. So,
The hour before is mostly implied towards like the afternoon.
Okay.
Most everybody is clocked in by 7:30 in the morning. So everybody should be, if somebody's calling in sick between 6 and 6:30, we should have gotten that call off even if you use that hour window. Any other questions? All right, then I'm gonna turn it over to Brandy, who's gonna do a Kahoot game with you guys.
So if you guys grab your phones, do not open the app. Just go to your Safari or your Google, whatever, the main webpage. You go to Kahoot, and then look for the word play. Sometimes it's highlighted in an icon of purple, and yesterday I think everybody said play, but there's no button looking. So it just like, looks like it's just like just says play. So if you, it's Kahoot, so K-A-H-O-O-T. Go to Safari. European cable. Don't, you can reject all the cookies and play. The PIN number up there, the 7-digit number.
Everybody log in, Brandy?
I have to, huh? Yeah, just, you don't even have to log in. See this little word right here, play, just hit it.
I didn't want.
Real quick, I forgot to mention one other kind of somber news. Jeannie's mother-in-law passed away this weekend as well. And she is going to be at a funeral tomorrow, so if you guys can keep her in your thoughts as well. Jeannie, her mother-in-law, just passed away.
Type in Kahoot. Yep, you're fine. Type in whatever your search is. Okay. So, and then his. You're gonna do this door. Safari, Google, and charge the car, and I need to bring this one. You want the person number in the red,
Go to Kahoot and then what?
Log in, just do
Or
the
just log
login.
in.
Just do the login. Should say login. On Safari.
Does anybody else need help? No, sorry.
Yeah.
Just go to,
I had the app.
are you in Safari?
And then
Get out of that. Oh, no, it's a, I don't think it's not.
I don't see it.
Should I move to a room so she can see it?
Not do it. Continue. Why? It's a sign in. I don't know.
Anybody else? Okay, there's 21 of you in here, I need 21, so it's 13. I need 21. Yeah, You guys are prolonging this. I need 21 people. There's 21 of you here. I need 21. There's 15.
You signed out?
Reject. No, you're good. Yes, yes. Yes. So,
I kept rejecting it.
yeah, reject the cookies. You don't have to memorize.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep.
I know. That's why I was wondering if
Second or bad?
next time. I'm a one person. I can't see.
On your phone, once I hit start, it's just going to give you 4 colors. Red, blue, yellow, green. Some are multiple choice. You're just going to pick one answer. There may be more than one good answer, but we're just going to pick one. Okay? Here we go. Yes, I'll read them out loud. You're driving in heavy rain and visibility drops suddenly. Cars behind you are getting impatient. What do you do? Red, maintain speed to keep traffic flow. Blue, slow down, increase following distance. Pull over immediately in traffic lane. Or green, turn on high beams. It would give you 1 minute every question, but as soon as everybody answers, it will end it.
Done in a flash. This is like a turtle.
I'm getting recommended. I'm recommended for answering 2 questions.
There we go. All right, so you're going to slow down and you're going to increase your following distance. What is the following distance in, like today? What's your following distance from the vehicle in front of you?
3 cars.
4 seconds?
4 seconds.
So in inclement weather, how long is it?
40.
You want to double it,
80.
okay?
Oh, yes.
When I read the questions, I'm just going to go left to right. So the colors, I'm just going left to right so I can see the color. While driving on a bridge in winter, your bus begins to slide slightly. You should brake firmly to regain control. True or false? You should not brake firmly. You slam on the brakes here, what happened? Braking quickly, firmly, lose traction, overcorrection, so you could cause a rollover risk. Corrective action is to ease off and control steering. Snow is falling heavily and your route is behind schedule. Dispatch hasn't said anything. What do? Speed up slightly, skip stops, continue safely at reduced speed, notify dispatch when you are 10 minutes behind schedule.
Well, okay, I don't know.
There's 2 correct answers, just choose one.
Okay.
I have to pay an additional fee so you can choose all of them, so.
Now you're paying an additional fee for not everybody getting right. Genius, what a shame.
Yeah. All right. So correct answer is continue safely at a reduced speed and notify dispatch you are 10 minutes behind schedule. 10 minutes or more. It's extremely hot and a student says they feel dizzy. What's your priority? Finish the route? Turn on the heat? Stop, assess, and notify dispatch, or ignore unless they faint.
Definitely turn on the heat so he passes out and you don't have to hear him.
I mean, yes, you're gonna finish the route, but before you finish the route, you want to at least stop and assess and then report, okay? So, we'll finish it after we assess him. Road conditions always matter more than staying on schedule. True or false?
No.
I want to push on the left, I push on the right.
And that's why they're telling you all the time.
Okay, so I know why one person did that. Why do you think road conditions are not more important than staying on schedule?
They are more.
They are more important, but there's, I know why Patty put false, but
What?
somebody else put false, so I was just asking why.
Oh.
You know, it's hard having both hands working at the same time.
Daddy, that's what you do when you drive. You need to correct that.
A student is having a seizure in their seat. What should the monitor do? Hold them still, clear area and protect their head, time the seizure if possible, move them immediately. Why are you frozen? There we go. All right, so we don't want to move them. Okay? I mean, if you have to clear, again, I guess that's a little misleading. You're only going to move them if you, one, have the space and if you have to roll them over. But otherwise, you want to keep them and protect their head. And then obviously, you want to time the seizure also. If you can, it says if possible. So when EMT gets there, you can tell them how long they've been seizing for. A student faints, but wakes up quickly. What's the correct move? Continue your route, stop, assess, and report, ignore the situation, or drop them off early. Yes. Key thing that you guys are keep seeing is that you're stopping, assessing, and reporting. Reporting is key. If you don't report anything to us, then we cannot follow up with that. One, we can't follow up with the student. One, we can't follow up with the school or the parents. But a lot, recently, we are not getting reports. Okay, we're not getting reports until after it's been a while, or schools are notifying us and no one else is saying anything. So we need reports. Not that I'm saying this incident happened, I'm just saying the word report. That's the important part. You should follow the student's emergency care plan if available. True or false? Why would you pick false? Was it the previous time?
My finger hit by accident.
All right, okay.
Sure, as we had.
You should always follow the student's emergency care plan. If you have one for your students on your bus, where are they?
In the same.
In the envelope, in the envelope up there.
There's a brown envelope in your bus.
Yes.
If you have new students, those are added to your report if we are notified. So if they have a medical plan, every driver will have that. Now that's not saying that they have an IEP and you're being notified. We're just giving you an emergency care plan, medical. So if they have medication for seizures, for diabetes, so anything, asthma, okay, that's when you're gonna get the medical. Okay, not because they have autism, unless they have a medical go with it, but we're not gonna tell you they have autism, okay? We're giving you the medical plan. Are you able to alter that plan at all?
No.
As a driver?
No.
If a student says that they have asthma, they don't have their inhaler, but you have yours, can you alter?
No.
Okay, I have allergies, I need Benadryl, do you have some?
No.
Okay, you cannot alter in any way, we cannot give them any of our own personal stuff. Notify dispatch, if it's an emergency, we'll get you an ambulance, any medical assistance, but we do not alter anybody's plans. If you don't have updated plans, come to the office and make sure we get those. Who communicates with dispatch during a medical emergency? The students, driver, monitor only, or no one?
Why are we yelling now?
Driver. It would be the monitor also if she's not attending to the students and if it's the driver who needs medical assistance, but it says monitor only, and it's never just the monitor. So yes, it's going to be the driver. If the driver's the one who needs the medical, the monitor will take over. If you're by yourself and you need assistance, hoping the students know what to do. But bus evacuations would practice that with them. Some students are just smart and they watch you guys use the radio, so. A fire starts near the front of your bus. What do? Evacuate using rear exit. Move at least 100 feet away to a safe area. Only the monitor helps the students and count the students. What do you do when there's a fire in the front of your bus?
Is my answer.
There's more than one answer. There's more than one correct answer.
I know.
So, we did bus evacuations a couple months ago. That one bus evacuated from every door possible, even when the fire was in the front. They didn't move 100 feet away. And then obviously they didn't count children because they were scattered all over. So it is not only the monitor responsibility, it is both of yours. Matt didn't mention it, but we did hire a new monitor. We're waiting for her to clear everything and get through HR paperwork. So I was training her the other day, and I couldn't stress to her enough that you are a team. The driver and monitor are a team. We work together, communicate together, work together. Bus evacuation drills prepare students to evacuate faster in real emergencies. You should practice once a year. True or false?
I know.
We have to do it, but you should do it more. You should, I don't know.
I know. I was going to flash,
It is more than 1 year. It's supposed to be twice a year. We only do it once a year. But it's supposed to be twice a year. And actually, we don't even do it once a year. Maybe 10 of you do it once a year, but not everybody does it once a year. But like I said, we're gonna try to change that to where everybody does it at least once on your bus, because everybody should be practicing it. Now, if you're driving a sped bus, do you think once or twice a year is good enough for your students?
No.
So you should be practicing more often. If you get to school early, you can be practicing it. But you guys should be practicing with your students, or at least talking through it instead of the full practice, so they are aware. Because how do you think your students are going to react in an emergency when they need to get off the bus? Okay?
Crash into each other.
My next question probably is going to roll right into that because yesterday I was talking too much. Here we go. A student refuses to leave the bus during an evacuation. What do you do? Leave them. Physically assist for training. Argue with them or until they're ready.
Or what?
Wait until they're ready.
I guess we gotta wait.
Yeah, what if the bus is burning and you're already out the door?
You pull them out.
How physically assisted?
So I know we're not supposed to touch the students, but again, you gotta move them off the bus. We're not gonna leave them. I'm just gonna keep talking. But we're not gonna leave them on the bus. That's why if you have a sped bus and your students aren't quick with change, you wanna be practicing this. Let them know what's going on, what to expect. Because otherwise, they're gonna fight you, they're not gonna go anywhere.
Well, and then the Good Samaritan law kicks in.
So, physically, take them off the bus. I know we don't train that way, but again, that's something I can try to do next year. But we never, again, you don't wanna wait. You gotta get them off the bus as soon as possible, especially if there's a fire, okay? You're not gonna evacuate your bus unless it's an absolute emergency, okay? So, gotta
Okay,
get
so
them off.
all of those who answered green when you said wait, were you, like, are we faking our evacuation?
No.
Or are we, I was just
Real
wondering why
evacuation.
you wanted to wait.
Well, I'm assuming that you wanna wait because you don't wanna upset them. But at the same time, it's an emergency, otherwise you're not, this is not like you're arriving at school and your kid doesn't wanna get off the bus. You're evacuating because there's an emergency. So if you're at school and they won't get off the bus, obviously you're gonna wait until the teachers get on and help you. But otherwise, you're not waiting, it's an evacuation. Get off the bus, there's a fire, there's a leak, whatever, you gotta get off. It's an evacuation, we're not waiting.
I was just wondering why.
Any questions on that? For those who said wait, again, the key word was evacuation, not just dropping them off at school or at home. If they don't want to go home, that's something else, but it's an evacuation. 2 students are yelling and throwing objects. What's your move? Ignore them? Speed up to finish your route? Pull over, secure your bus and address the situation? Brake check. Doing a brake check, okay, you're gonna correct it, but you may hurt somebody, and then I'm gonna get notified, and then I have to talk to the school, and then I have to come up with an excuse of why you did that.
Somebody actually put that.
Brake check is not the correct answer. Once you pull over, secure your bus, and address the situation. Okay? I know it's a quick fix, hit the brakes, oh my God, there's an animal, there's someone who jumped out in front of my bus, it was an accident. No, it wasn't. We're not brake checking.
Somebody actually put that.
Pull over, secure your bus, and address the situation.
And even when you secure your bus, you don't want them to go to the front because they'll grab that radio.
Yes.
Trust me.
No, remember that?
A student keeps standing while the bus is moving. What now? Slam on the brakes. Use the intercom to ask students to sit down. Let monitor handle later. Keyword later. Pull over and correct the behavior. Again, we're never going to slam on our brakes. Yes, you can use your intercom. First thing you want to do is use your intercom, tell them to sit down, stay in their seats. Why it's not let the monitor take care of that is because if the monitor is on the bus, they should be addressing it right away. And then pull over and correct behavior. If a student is continuously getting out of your seat, what else are you going to do? Write them up. Are you going to tell the parents and recommend that he puts in securement? No. It's not your responsibility to do that. Student services, the IAP teams over at the schools, it's their responsibility to come up with that. But if you have your report, we pull the tape, we have the evidence to follow up to tell student services. But when you skip the process of reporting and getting the video and discussing with the student and trying to fix the situation, we're not going to automatically put them in a securement that is less restrictive. Because once these kids get into the vest, I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but once they're in a vest, once they're in the 5-point, I hardly ever see them get out of it. Okay? Students should be able to go back the other way. They should not be stuck in that securement. That's the most restrictive. But we're never reversing it. So that's why you could also be giving good reports, not just bad reports. We should be helping these students to make better choices. Again, some students can't, and I get that. But I watch videos and I see, and we never let them go backwards and just get into a seatbelt. A fight breaks out in the back. What's first? First, pull over safely, break it up while driving, call the school, keep going. Your first instinct, what should you do? We're pulling over. Your first thing you should be doing is pulling over, okay? And then, yes, you're not gonna call the school ever, because you're gonna call dispatch, because you don't have the ability to call school. You're gonna call dispatch if we have to. I don't know if anybody's remembered, a couple years ago, there was a fight on the bus with Brimkus. He pulled over, he called dispatch, we called the police. I mean, granted, the kids jumped out the window, but again, there was a process. Your first and foremost is pull over safely. Patty had something going on her bus. She pulled over, called dispatch, we called the police. She did not break it up. Brimkus did not get out of his seat. You are not able to touch the kids. We're only touching them if it's an emergency and they won't get up. Otherwise, don't touch them.
And to be honest, Patty thought she could handle it, but the office went in on my bus and said, go to the gas station.
So that's what the cameras are for. to
Yep,
help out.
so they do go in on you.
Yes. Consistent expectations reduce behavior problems. True or false? Consistent expectations reduce behavior problems. True or false? I think we all answered, but the answer is true. Why do you think it's false? If you have consistent, the same expectations, we didn't say it's going to take away all behaviors, it's going to reduce. So having the same rules, following the same rules, it's going to reduce the behavior. You can't always control every student's behavior, but you're going to reduce it. When you have a behavior, when you have your rules, because you want to be nice to the students, you want to make your rules. When our subs get on the bus and they don't follow your rules because they're following Geneva rules, we're going to cause a behavior. Okay? When there's a seating chart and you don't follow it, you're going to have a behavior. When we're not watching our students at stops, and currently right now we have a bus that does this, a student, when there's a sub on it, not just our sub drivers, but a sub, because I drive, Kelly drives, Dennis drives for us all the time too. When they go on this bus, a student will get up at every stop and switch seats, but nobody corrects him. Okay? He's quick, he's slick, and we're not on the bus with him every day, so he's in a seat now, he's in a seatbelt, but he's not in the correct seat. I watched it on video. He just slides into another seat. The driver does check it, he stays there, but he's moving, he's not supposed to be. Okay? When you're doing a house stop, and now I gotta correct it, okay? Again, we're gonna cause behavior, because now the student is getting a house stop, or I have to call parents and make corrections because you're doing a field trip, and now I have to correct that, okay? Consistent expectations reduce behavior problems. A student refuses to follow instructions. What's the best approach? Threaten them? Stay calm and give clear directions? Write a bus conduct report? Or ignore them? Yep. So, again, report. Write them up. Write them up. We've got the evidence. We can correct it with the school. Stay calm, obviously. We don't want to raise our voices. We don't want to use inappropriate language. Again, I've seen this in videos also. You stop the bus. We are at a high level voice, like you're talking to your own kids. Again, these aren't your personal kids. These are our students. And we use inappropriate language. And we use words that we shouldn't be. I know we're in the moment. We're heated. We're frustrated. but we need to stay calm, give clear directions. The monitor sees escalating behaviors. What should they do? Ignore them, inform the driver, de-escalate the behaviors, and write the report. Never want to ignore the situation. Even if they're not, so if your students, I know on our buses, we have one monitor for the students, so one-on-one. But if you're on a bus with multiple students and you see somebody else escalating, can you address that student so they don't actually escalate your student you're one-on-one on? We should be doing that. We should not be just focusing on one student. Okay, because again, if they're not escalating, but they are, you want to help Sally out to de-escalate so we don't set off the other student, Johnny. Write the report up. Inform your driver in case they have to pull over and assess the situation also, if you need assistance. Documentation protects both the staff and students, true or false? True. Protects you. Okay, making sure that you're doing your job, and if something else has to happen, get another securement or anything like that, so it's gonna help you. Also protects the students in the sense that we are not gonna force them into a securement that they shouldn't be in. If someone's bullying them, again, reports protect both parties. We're almost done, 6 more. The driver and monitor must double check safety securements before departure, true or false? True. Okay, you are a team. Who is at fault if you're in an accident and you didn't check the securements? Driver. So drivers, if you trust your monitor with your life and your CDL, that's great, but it's not what you're supposed to be doing. Check every securement. Driver has to get out of their seat and check them. A student becomes overwhelmed and starts yelling. What's the best response? Raise your voice, stay calm and reduce the stimuli, ignore them, or remove immediately. Do we always have to remove a student just because they're loud? No. We've watched some videos where drivers are stopping the staff and students before they even get on the bus and say, I can't drive them. They have to be picked up. That is not a solution. Okay? If the students can be loud coming out and they can get on the bus safely and secure themselves and they're not doing any harm to you or the other students, there's no reason why they can't be on your bus. We don't touch the other staff, we don't cut them off or anything, they're out there helping you. Get them on the students on the bus. Raising your voice when a student is being stimulated and they're screaming. Do you think raising your voice with them, not yelling at them, but like I have a loud voice right now. Do you think this voice would be great with those students on the bus if they're already yelling?
No.
I watched videos where they are yelling with the students to get their attention. We're not yelling with them. There's a way that we can communicate with them and to de-escalate them. And they may not be escalating to where they're violent, but they're stemming. But us screaming with them, we should not be screaming with them.
Well,
Okay,
you know,
we could actually be activating, like if they're, go ahead.
So, okay. Me, for an example, because, you know, I have a student on the bus that, and it was my fault, because I did not write it up in the beginning, where in the beginning, he got on the bus and he was fine. He sat in the back, he was fine. For some whichever reason, he decided he wanted to stand up way in the back, which when I was driving, I stopped and I called out his name, and I told him he needed to sit. He needed to sit, move from back there. And he sat. So I drove on, and then he turned around and was kneeling and talking to the students at the back. So I told him he needed to sit down. I stopped the bus, told him he needed to sit down. He did apologize. Of course, I had said to him, you're not sorry, something like that. And I just sat down and I kept it moving. I should have wrote the child up, which I did not write the child up. So when the child came back on the next day, I did tell him that he needed to sit in front from this point on, because in my opinion, and only my opinion, only what I saw, I just felt like, because the child was to me special need, I just told the child, you need to sit in the front, because that way you don't get yourself in trouble. And
Right.
it's easier for you to sit in the front and you stay out of trouble. In the beginning, he agreed with me. And then from that point, when we got on, he just didn't want to sit no more in the front. He also wanted to sit in the back. And that's where I was like, no, you need to come sit in the front. You need to sit in the front. That's when I started writing the whole situation.
Right.
But
Okay, but do you think by telling him that he's not sorry,
I know.
do you think that was the correct way to
No, it
respond?
wasn't. It wasn't, because
Okay.
at that point, I was just that,
Right.
I'm like, dude, you in high school, come on, you know,
Right.
that was my attitude, and that's what it was. So, from that point on, when he started to speak to me,
Right,
I had to say, stop. I had to tell myself stop, because I'm like, Stacy, this ain't your child.
correct,
And so from that point, I ended up getting a teacher from that point, and I started writing.
right,
So, I just wanted to let you guys know that, because it can happen.
right. Our next question actually goes with that. Oh, no, okay, there's a question that goes with that, hold on.
Okay.
A nonverbal student appears distressed. What should the monitor do? Ignore them, assume behavior issues, observe behavior cues and communicate with the driver, or wait until the stop? So if a nonverbal student appears distressed, what should the monitor do? Ignore the student, assume it's just a behavior issue, observe the behavior cues and communicate with the driver, or wait until the stop and then address it? Okay, we're not going to assume it's just a behavior issue. It may be, but again, if you are observing the behavior cues and then you communicate with the driver that this is going on, and then you guys can both make a decision. So, I mean, again, we're not gonna assume it's just behavior. You need to observe it and communicate with the driver. Each student may have different needs and plans. True or false? Each student is their own. They're individual. They are not two of the same. I have twins. They are not at all two of the same person, okay? Completely opposite, identical, but not the same. You cannot treat each student the same way, okay? So, just because a student's special needs on a reg ed bus, you cannot address them. Again, we don't tell you though. So unless it's in the IEP for some reason for me to tell you, they're not gonna know, you won't know the student has autism, or the student is some other disability, but they have the ability to be on your big bus. But we should not be treating each student the same, with the same expectations. And then, like I said, we need to be able to allow the students to correctly behave. The next day is a new day. Okay, so we need to make sure that we are talking to these students and give them the opportunity to correct it. If we talk to them every day saying that this behavior is not changing, and then putting them in the, as they call it, the angel seat, the front seat, again, let them work their way toward being somewhere else. If it doesn't fit that way, then we go to the administrators and they make the decision, you're there all year. We have schools like that. You know, half the year, you're in the front seat, that's what it is. But we shouldn't be treating everybody the same. During loading, a student tries to exit their seat repeatedly. Monitor or driver should do what? Secure and redirect safely, write a report, recommend to parents that student needs a different safety securement, or ignore them. So this is what I was referring to, is the one bus where the student moves. So at every stop, he got out of his seat and he went to another one. So he's not exiting the bus, he's just exiting the seat repeatedly. He can't find that nice cushion seat. Secure and redirect safely. Write a report. Recommend to parents that the student needs a different securement, or ignore. can recommend to parents that student needs a different securement. I just mentioned this a couple of questions ago at the beginning. You cannot. You should not be recommending anything to the parents. Okay? Now you can say that the securement's too small, it's pulling at the crotch area or whatever, but you're not giving them that he needs a securement. Okay, so if he's in a seatbelt, we're not telling them that, hey, I really think he needs a 5-point. If you wrote your report, if I have that video evidence, we would have reported it to student services. You don't get to. Okay? You can tell the parents if they were having struggling on the bus, you know, they were verbally, they were hitting the window, whatever. You could tell them that they had a behavior on the bus so they could address it, but we're not recommending changes to their IEP. A securement is in the student's IEP. You can't alter that. Don't talk to the parents about it. Write your report, get the video evidence, and we will support you and put it to student services. They alter the IEP. Yes, you're going to secure them and redirect them safely. Again, if they don't want to sit there, you're going to write the report. But you cannot tell parents that they need a securement. We have a student right now, the driver didn't do the report, didn't get the evidence, and now the student is in a securement. I tried arguing it, I tried showing that there was no evidence of it, and they didn't listen to me. It was already done. You have to back the bus in a tight lot. What's a best practice? Honk and move quickly. Use a spotter, check all mirrors, stop the bus frequently to check behind the bus. They're all three correct. So yesterday we had people say honk and move quickly. We're not, yes, you're honking, but the idea is you're not moving quickly. Okay, I know this is not a monitor question, but the monitor, you're a spotter. If you're lucky enough, you gotta have somebody on board. Otherwise, you're checking your mirrors or you're stopping frequently. Last question. Students should never be outside the bus during backing. True or false? True. Students should never be outside your bus. So if you ever drove on Elm Street, it's a dead end. You go down the street, you do not do a house stop in the middle of the road, let the kids go home, go down, do your 3-point turn, and then leave. You actually go all the way down, do your 3-point turn, stop the bus, let the kids get off. Okay? Picking them up in the morning, you go down, stop the bus, let them on, do your 3-point turn, and leave. We don't do house stops, especially on big buses. Next year, we're going to correct Elm Street, so it won't be an issue in the future. But again, I understand you might not think it's safe, but F at Geneva doesn't have sidewalks, so the kids can still walk. Keep them on the bus, back your bus, then go. Any questions? Your mama? Cab? Number 1. Why? Why? Because. All right. All right. Any questions?
Good job, Teresa.
All right. Teresa. All right. We're done. If you have no questions, we are good.